Hey guys, what's up? My name is Anthony. Welcome to another edition of B&A Sports Talk, and it is football week. It is also my birthday. I turned 21 today, and what did I buy with my first purchase of alcohol? Well, it actually wasn't my first. I have a fake ID. No, just kidding. I look so young for my age. I didn't need a fake. I don't like if I went to a place and showed them a fake ID, they just laugh. But yeah, so I'm 21, and today I want to talk about the Giants. I want to talk about the Giants for my birthday. Can we have a little bit of that? I think so. So I have a couple notes jotted down, and Isaac Yiadom and DeAndre Baker are very similar players. Now, what kind of surprised me is DeAndre Baker had more snaps in just his 1 year than Yiadom did in his 2 years, almost 200 more. DeAndre Baker had almost 1,000 snaps. Yiadom right around 750. So, yeah, that was a big surprise to me. But what we all know about DeAndre Baker, besides he's a criminal, is that, he struggled in zone coverage. Now, Yiadom, I think it's not more of an effort thing. I think it's just like, he just struggles. He just doesn't understand. Like, I think he tries real hard, but he's going to work out more in the zone coverage because of his skills, his abilities. I like the way he, sinks his hips down. I think that's going to be very useful for us. And what this Yiadom, deal really does show is that, first of all, Corey Ballantyne is probably not ready. If Corey Ballantyne was ready to fill into that second quarterback spot, we probably want to trade a 7th-round pick to get a Yiadom. It's a cheap deal. So think about it. We basically spent, it was like a first, a third, and a fifth, and a 7th to find our right cornerback spot, and maybe some other assets that we got here and there. So, we just need to keep on dumping things. I think people are like, they're just throwing shit at the wall and see, what's going to stick. I don't really think it's just doing blindly. I think things happen. Things happen to certain teams. You get a player and they get injured. You get another player and they get injured again. It's what happens to certain teams, certain players. Now, it's been a little bit too much of a coincidence for us not being able to find that second cornerback spot. I think, honestly, our starting roster predictions, it's going to be James Bradbury at the left cornerback, Yiadom at the right, and obviously we're going to change personnel on every single play. These guys aren't going to play every single snap, but I think Yiadom is going to be primarily at that second spot. Then you have Logan Ryan as one of the safeties, and then you're going to have Jabril Peppers as another one of those safeties, and I'm kind of good with that defensive backfield. Like, if you think about what it could have been like a month ago, think about like 3 months ago. You said, okay, what's the Giants' defensive back position going to be? Oh, it's going to be a guy, James Bradbury. Well, let's just say it was before we signed him. And then Logan Ryan. And then the guy named Isaac Yiadom. We were like, who the hell is that? People didn't even know who he was a week ago. I didn't even know who he was until a week ago. So Yiadom is going to bring a little bit of that. We learned Corey Ballantyne probably isn't ready to fill in that spot just yet. I'm not too much of a Corey Ballantyne believer. He has the speed, the elite speed and stuff. It is what it is. I'm not at practice. I don't have my eyes on him, but it seems like Corey Ballantyne isn't going to be the guy. Now, I don't want to throw money at another cornerback. I really don't, because, we saw Miami. They're paying 2 cornerbacks now, and we'll see how it works out for them. They have that whole scheme with the Patriots and the whatever, that mindset. We'll see how it ends up working out for them paying 2 cornerbacks, but we saw with the Jaguars. They couldn't afford paying 2 cornerbacks. That's why they got rid of Ramsey and Boye. They decided to get rid of both of them and do it through the draft. And good teams, if we take a look at them, the Patriots, they only really pay 1 cornerback. And no team really pays 2 cornerbacks. Take a look at the 49ers. They're paying 1 cornerback. The Chiefs, 1 cornerback, or guy in the backfield, Tyrann Mathieu, didn't really have a dominant cornerback last year. You had some guys that are filling in, did a good job. As far as the next topic I want to talk about, as far as the starting offensive line, a lot of people are not really talking about it. We cut Chris Slade and we brought in some guy who was a 7th-round pick last year. I don't think he's going to start. But could Matt Parrott start? Like, who's going to be our right tackle? Take a look at the current roster right now. Is Cam Fleming going to be a starter? I don't really like him. I don't. And I think we could struggle at that right tackle spot. That's not really something that a lot of people are talking about right now. It's just like, we were kind of talking about before, and now, the roster set, it's just like, Cam Fleming is going to be the right tackle. We know Nick Gates is going to be the center. Are you going to put Nick Gates at right tackle? I don't really like Nick Gates at tackle. I like him more of an interior position. And who are you going to put? I think Spencer Pulley, people are saying, can play a swing tackle role. But I think Nick Gates is going to be center. Then left guard Will, the right guard Kevin Zeitler. And then that right tackle spot, that's going to be a true weakness. And let me tell you, the J.J. Watts of the world, the T.J. Watts of the world, the Khalil Macks, they're going to line up on that right side. And Daniel Jones better be ready because it looks like he still hasn't completely fixed his fumbling problems. We knew it wasn't going to be like a magic wand. He's like, yeah, I worked on it. when a guy's just like, yeah, I've been working on it, I think it's perfect, usually it's not really that fixed. But the offensive line is going to be a little bit of a question here. Andrew Thomas, he's still learning a little bit. He's still learning with technique, and he needs to trust his technique, which may be a little bit of a problem because he only had 2-3 weeks of training. If you think about it, Andrew Thomas is learning how to keep his hands inside. Now you have to face against the top pass rushers and implement the skills that you were. So hopefully they all line up on the right side. Matt Parrott or Ken Fleming gets destroyed, and Andrew Thomas looks somewhat decent as he's not giving up pressure every single play. That's what's going to end up being out, working out. We're going to have to get at the ball out really quick. I'm going to start making prognostications of game by game soon. But, yeah, that's something to look out for. Like, we're going to get out the ball really, really quickly. And Golden Tate, we did target him. I think he was the furthest depth of target of his career last year. We're going to have to use a lot of Sterling Shepherds. We're going to have to use a lot of those intermediate routes. And hopefully Jason Garrett's ready because we're going to have a lot of pressure on that right side. Move everything to the left side. And hopefully that evens out. That would be my game plan against everybody. Like, don't do anything on that right side. Some other notes that I have, let's see. Wide receiver position. The wide receiver position is very... I don't want to say interesting. Everyone says, oh, it's going to be very interesting. Yeah, that's kind of like the fallback. Hey, I even do it too, so I'm not really complaining. This coaching staff doesn't really appreciate wide receivers. We put a lot of them on the practice squad. They don't want to waste a lot of talent on wide receiver because they realize there's not much of a difference between these guys, and we'll just pick them up. Like a team, especially in this COVID era, they're not going to all of a sudden start fishing for players on practice squad. So I think that's a smart move by Joe Judge. That's something not a lot of people are talking about. It's very smart to be like, oh yeah, we're not going to all of a sudden just get this random guy, Austin Mack, that we don't know nothing about, and then take him from a facility. Maybe they can do that in the future, but Joe Judge, I think, is smart. He's like, let's give an extra spot to a defensive tackle. I don't love R.J. McIntosh, but, I can't love every single player on the roster. I can't. It's not feasible. Do I think we should have taken an extra wide receiver and got rid of a defensive tackle? Yes. But, the defensive tackle, Dave Gettleman, you see, he really values this position. And are they going to keep on doing rotations of players? Maybe. But in this era, there's not going to be a lot of, fans in the stands. There's not going to be a lot of energy, a lot of boost. So I think these guys on the defensive line may get tired a little bit quickly. Was that kind of like a bullshit point? Is that an actual thing? I don't know. But nobody knows how it's going to be. Because these guys haven't played without fans since they were in middle school. Even in middle school, they did have a lot of fans. These guys have been playing in front of tens of thousands of people. And, so we're going to see the boys separated from the men right here. They don't really value wide receiver. The guy that they brought in from Cleveland, I'm like, who is this? And apparently he's good. The Rattler kid, I want to watch a little bit of tape on him. I want to see how his release is. I want to see some certain things about him. But, things are, he's good. Freddie Kitchens gets his hands on him, can work him out a little bit, and communicate with him well, make him familiar with the whole Giants thing and be kind of his one-on-one guy. That's Freddie Kitchens' job. His job isn't, everything anymore. It isn't the roster. It isn't personal relations with all these players and making sure they're gelling, the offensive game plan. It's to make sure that guys like Kevin Wright, I know he's not the wide receivers coach, he's the tight end coach, but he's going to help a little bit with that. To make sure these guys are all gelled in, understand the game plan a little bit, but he's not have to formulate anything. We did bring an extra tight end. I thought that was a great move because we're going to have a lot of multiple tight end sets. If you have a guy that you trust, you keep him on the roster. Because we know Evan Ingram can go down. We know Toy Lolo hasn't really looked that great so far in the spring training practice or whatever, the camps, summer camps or whatever you want to call it. So that's a good decision for them. He's a decent player. He's not going to be overly ecstatic, but you don't want another team picking him up. Ryan Connolly was obviously a bummer. I'm not really going to rant about that. I think I've already said some few words about it. But, the ACL thing, that's all I got to say. Coleman, Connolly, ACL. And that may be a thing going into the future with a lot of teams. We can pick him up next year. Hopefully, if the scenario where we pick him up is that he's not as good as people think or he gets injured again. So I don't think Connolly's going to be back on the team. It's kind of sad how it ends up working out. But you got to take your lumps. You got to take a positive and a negative. You can't win every single battle. But you could fight, you could try real hard, but you can't win every battle. You can't have everyone in the roster that you want, and you got to deal with things day by day. So that's pretty much all I have to say today. Again, happy birthday to me. It's been 10 minutes. I usually don't have videos this long. But yeah, I just want to talk some Giants. I had some fun today. Let me know what you guys think of the Giants roster, how it's shaping up, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.